Adventure on Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
To the party like a firecracker ready to blow. Head top back, ass was fat, putting on a show. Shoes on, little mama, look at the fun.
This is Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest who has some killer new music that is perfect for somebody here that lives in Florida because we got spring break going on. And so let's welcome to the show, Austin from Gunshine. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, glad to have you. And you guys are on the road right now. Where are you at right now?
Right now, we are in kind of near Cincinnati. We just played last night at this venue called the Blue Note, and it was awesome, man. It was a packed house, and a bunch of people bought merch, and people out there singing every single lyric. So, yeah, it was fun, man. We're out here doing the thing.
I love that. I've heard of that venue too. That's like an iconic venue. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think they just had Jackal. They got George Lynch coming in, I think, tomorrow night. So, yeah, it was a cool spot.
All right. So you guys have this new single, and no pun intended, single looks good on you. What a great, not only spring break party song, but also it gave me flashbacks of the 80s, and flashbacks from the music perspective, not necessarily the scene, but just that kind of party fun music that we need right now.
Yeah, man, it's all in there. All those vibes are in there. And when we first started the band, it's funny, when Jordan first came over, when I was auditioning singers, he was like, well, what are you kind of going for? And I'm like, man, it's like, think about, Van Halen. It makes you want to party and have a good time. And especially, I started the band basically on the heels of COVID. So there's a lot of dark, depressing kind of times at that time. And I was like, man, I just want to have a sound and a vibe that makes you want to, have a good time, party, kind of get your mind off all the stress going on in the world and stuff. So, that's another song like that. It's spring break party anthem, and definitely got the Florida vibes in there. A little, we don't really call it country, more like swamp rock, which is, it's got some of the hairband vibes, but with a little bit more grit, kind of nastier, sound blended in there.
And I also believe more musicianship than the Sunset Strip hair metal bands. Like, to me, it's got that party vibe, but it's also got the killer musicianship. So it's not like a gimmick. You're a true musician.
Oh, thanks, man. So my thing was always like, again, to kind of reference Van Halen a little bit. I know Nuno from Extreme talks about this too, but when you take having a catchy like pop rock kind of song with a big chorus and everything, but then doing these little things in between that, like when you peel back the layers and under the covers where you're kind of doing, doing flashy stuff on the guitar or whatever, as long as it fits the song. But, it's not so much like, oh, just strum chords and then guitar solo and whatever. Like if you listen to Van Halen or something, there's all these little Easter eggs throughout the song. So
yeah,
kind of inspired by stuff like that, where it's like, like I said, when you peel back the layers, there's a lot to it, but it's still a palatable, catchy, pop rock and roll song.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what happened during COVID that made you want to start this project. We know the obvious of what happened, but what happened for you personally that created this creativity?
Yeah, so I've always been really into the creation of music and writing songs. I've always heard ideas and stuff in my head, and always kind of had the vision to sort of start my own thing. And it takes so many years and time to find the right pieces to kind of get that off the ground. Because I was really looking for an X Factor type voice, someone that love them or hate them, that it's us as soon as you hear us come on. So I was really trying to find that, which that's not an easy thing to find. So that takes years. So I had a really high standard of what I was trying to create and the sound that was in my head. So in the meantime, I was going to music school out in Hollywood in Musicians Institute out there in California. And when I graduated, I got the opportunity to tour with a band called New Year's Day. And we did arena tours with Hailstorm and In This Moment, Godsmack. And that was awesome. But, when the world shut down with the COVID thing, we were on tour with New Year's Day, and that was we flew home from Germany 2 days before everything shut down.
Wow.
And but the silver lining and everything was it kind of brought all the touring to a halt and allowed me to really reflect and kind of get this whole thing off the ground. And sure enough, when I went back to Florida, someone said, "Hey, you should try this guy. He plays in the local dueling piano bar, and I think he would sound great for what you're trying to do." So, and of course, I had tried singers in LA. I tried singers all over the country, but of course, I go back home to Florida, and kind of a small town in Pensacola, and that's where I find Jordan. So it's just kind of crazy how it all happened.
That is pretty cool. And, I love your story because I said after and during COVID that the blessing of COVID was it would give musicians the chance to jump off the hamster wheel and actually be able to create again, because it got so busy that you never really had a chance to get creative like you may have when you first started in music. And it's almost like going back to that when it was fresh and new and exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was something about, that time. It's like, you couldn't really, people weren't touring. So it's like there was a lot of people writing and stuff like that. But it was, I think in another way, it was kind of hard for some people to be inspired because of all the, the madness going on in the world and stuff. So
Totally.
it was almost, it was kind of a little bit of both. But for me, this was kind of a thing that I'd wanted to start for so many years. So I had all these ideas saved, and I would actually work on demos that became the first album for Gunshine while I was on tour New Year's Day. I would go in the green room and kind of record stuff. I didn't want to just wait around until I found all the right pieces. So I was actively putting things together even before the band started.
I love that. And so how have you felt the experience has been with Gunshine? Is it everything that you were thinking it would be, or is it more?
Oh man, it's been going absolutely killer. We just played last night. Like I said, to see people singing the lyrics and stuff back to us, it's a whole
That's
crazy
wild.
experience. Yeah, because that's kind of what I always sort of dreamed of, and I love songwriting, and it's just really cool to the rate that it's gone in just a few years is super humbling. So yeah, man, I would say it's going great, and everything that I was trying to do, everything I wanted, but we're just trying to keep raising the bar and pushing forward even more from here. So,
and speaking of the 80s, what does it feel like when you get kudos from guys like Joe Elliott and Stephen Pearcy?
Yeah, that's another like surreal moment, man. It's just crazy. Like you grow up on music like that. And I always say I was born in the wrong decade. So I love, Def Leppard and Rat and everything like that. So, it just is further, I guess, whatever you want to say, validation or confirmation or whatever it is that yeah, we're onto something, and that the sound that was kind of circulating for us is something that resonates with people. So, and especially guys like that you really respect, it means a lot.
Yeah, like for a guy like Joe Elliott to sit there and say, he could have just said, "Oh, it was good music," but he's like, "Wow, was I thoroughly entertained by this record? It's fantastic." Like those adjectives that say a lot. And then to compare you to early GNR and maybe even Buck Cherry, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I know, man. It's crazy. Like, and like I said, those, Def Leppard is a big part of the sound, all the melodies and how Mutt Lange was kind of producing everything. He's a big influence for me as well. So, yeah, man, wild. It would be cool if we got a tour with Def Leppard at some point.
There it is. You could have like a tour. It would be Rat, Def Leppard, and you guys.
There you go. I'm all about it.
And then you could get Steven and Joe to come up and perform a song with you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'll speak it into existence.
There you go. So what else you got going on for the rest of 2026 that the listeners have to look out for?
Yeah, we're just busy touring, man. We're going to be, we have the new record Grand Rising, and we're super pumped about it. It's all over the place in the best of ways. We got a couple ballads. We have an acoustic song. We have heavier songs. We have some stuff that kind of nods back to the first album a little bit. The last song on the record is called Table Dancing, and it's 8 minutes long, and it's like 5 songs in one. There's like a Frank Sinatra section and a 70s disco section. So we had a ton of fun making this album. So the thing this year is just we're sort of touring and getting this album out there.
Nice. And I love that you have all different types of kind of, lack of a better thing to put it, like genres within your music, because that's what I think makes it today, is the blending of a bunch of, I think metal and rock in general has gotten so like finite with the subgenres and the micro genres that it's so refreshing to me, a band like yours that can just mix things up and just play whatever you feel instead of going by some script or some formula.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest parts when I started this band, was like making sure that it was always done that way and just writing whatever comes out. And I just love music. So there's all kinds, like my dad used to play like a Beach Boys CD in the car, or like Casey and the Sunshine Band. And then, my sister and I are 90s kids. So we were hearing some of the pop stuff that was coming out at the time, and just, hard rock and metal, and you can blend all that stuff. And that's what's cool about it, is like, to me, I get bored if it's just one thing, but it's like, what makes it cool for me is like, well, what if we took like, the edginess of this, but combined it with the melody of that. And then, just, I don't know, man, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I think Ollie from Bring Me the Horizon said it best when they were giving him a lot of crap for like doing all different types of music now. And he's like, why do I want to write the same song over and over again? And I think about that. I'm like, any artist that's been doing it for a while, that would get like drudgery instead of fun if you're doing the same thing you did all through the years.
Totally. And that's the biggest thing, is like, the first album came out, and again, it was years of work, even before the band started. So you're talking, some of these riffs may have been from around 10 years ago. And then, you grow as a person, you grow as an artist, and you're inspired by different things as the years go on. So as we keep putting out more music, because we have that mindset of just writing whatever comes out, things are going to sound different, and that's the way I always wanted to do things. And, as opposed to maybe like an AC/DC where every album's going to sound similar, they do it so well. They have their sound and they do that so well. But for me, it's like, it's more fun when you kind of keep mixing it up and yeah, like I said, so that's what makes it fun for me.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the way I am. Like, if people were to describe me, they might think I'm like schizophrenic, because I got so many like different parts of my personality and likes and stuff like that. And I think that's what makes it interesting, fun, and gives us the great music, because you're being authentic to yourself. So when you're authentic, we can read that.
Totally. Yep. 100%. I've always thought that too. And the audience is smart, and they can pick up on if you're not being authentic, and if you're just phoning it in or trying to create a sound because it's something you think is going to sell and all this. It's that takes all the fun away from it. So, but if you're having fun and you're creating, and you're laughing while you're writing because something you think is so good or whatever, whatever it may be, but if you have that feeling, it's usually other people resonate too.
Nice. So tell everybody how they can connect to you guys on socials, how they can reach your merch store, because that's most important to me. They can't listen to my show unless they buy your merch. It's the only way you get to the next town.
I appreciate you, man. So gunshineband.com is the website, and then if you type in Gunshine across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you'll find us. But I think it's Gunshine Band on Instagram as well. So, and you'll find the merch. It's in the if you go to the website and just click merch, you'll find it. It's in all of our social media bios. You'll see the link, and you can click and find it from there.
Cool. Any final words you want to leave our listeners with that we haven't covered already?
No, man, just appreciate everyone's support so much. And it's just the beginning, man. We're just getting started. So check out the new songs, check out the new record, Grand Rising. Like I said, we're really proud of it. So yeah, man, I just really appreciate everyone for listening.
Well, nice. Well, we love your new music, and you keep rocking on across the country, giving it to us.
Yeah, man. Thanks again.
Thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.